Hey guys, Shadowz here, welcome back to another Gears of War video. Today we're going to be discussing an update on the Gears movie, Cliff Bleszinski, alternate reality and more in Gears of War. The Gears of War franchise has always been an action-packed, high-stakes, emotional, narrative-driven story of humanity fighting for survival against a horde of inhuman, genocidal monsters at a global extinction level. The third-person shooter series has always had the perfect universe for the big screen, securing a Gears of War movie deal all the way back in 2007, just 1 year after Gears of War 1's release, but has been in development hell ever since, involving multiple companies associated with the project over the years. After the huge success of the Gears of War franchise, making its debut in 2006 on the Xbox 360, becoming a major staple in the video game industry for Microsoft and Epic Games, New Line Cinema acquired the rights for a Gears of War movie in 2007, with initially wanting to release the Gears movie around the same time as a future Gears of War sequel game. Not much is known about the first time a Gears of War movie was being worked on, as struggles with it changing scripts, a major cut to funding, and losing the director did push the Gears movie to a standstill. At the Comic-Con event of 2009, 1 year after the release of Gears of War 2, the Gears panel, which did include Cliff Bleszinski, Rod Ferguson, Joshua Ortega, and the directors, did speak about the film, sharing a few minor details that the original Gears of War movie was to be set around the invasion of Sarah by the Locust Horde on Emergence Day, and that the characters of Marcus Fenix, Dominic Santiago, Jack, and Maria Santiago would have all made an on-screen appearance, and the idea of new movie exclusive characters would have been included in the film. Now, despite the huge success of the Gears of War franchise during the early years of the 2000s, selling millions of copies all around the world, and going on to release 4 more Gears of War games, it seemed like the announcement of a Gears of War movie from New Line Cinema being co-financed by Legendary Pictures at that point was dead in the water, sunken like the bottom of Jacinto and never happening, especially after Epic had sold the Gears of War franchise over to Microsoft in 2014, with new developer Xbox Game Studios The Coalition becoming the new home and the face for the Gears of War series. Next up being a few years later, since Microsoft had purchased the Gears of War IP during an Xbox live stream celebrating the launch of Gears of War 4 in 2016, the first new mainline Gears title from the Coalition. Rod Ferguson, the head of the studio at the time, made a special appearance to announce that Gears of War is getting a movie in collaboration with Universal Studios, as seen in the following clip.
We're really excited. I mean, I'm happy to finally, and we have a partnership with Universal Studios, and Gears of War is getting a movie.
What? Where is this movie going to take place? Is it going to take place in the world that we're creating here in Gears of War 4, or is it going to go back to the beginning?
Well, I mean, the thing about when you do a movie like this, you have to focus on, realize that it's a different medium with a different audience. You know,
Right.
I think if you were to go in and say, like, okay, it's got to be completely 100% faithful to the game canon or the story of the game, like, what's going to end up happening is you're going to end up, like, it's not going to be the best movie. Like, the big thing we're really trying to focus on is making the best Gears movie possible, as opposed to the one that's the most closest to the game. Well, we have a great partner with Universal. We have a great partner, Scott Stuber, the producer of Bluegrass Films, and they really know what they're doing, and that's what we're really excited about. Like, we're really focused on, look, you can't just make a game into a movie. You have to go and say, like, there's a lot of source material now to pull a story out of, but you have to make a movie story for people, and you have to realize that if you just make a movie for gamers, it's not going to be successful as a movie. So you really have to look at, like, how do you make a bigger story?
But roughly, how far out are we talking here? Like, when do you roughly see it being released?
Well, I mean, we're still early, right? Like, I'm not announcing a director, I'm not announcing a writer, so we're still really, really early in pre-production and sort of working through that stuff. But the fact that we're locked into have a partnership, we know a movie's going to happen.
As announced by Rod Ferguson in October 2016, Gears of War had secured a partnership with Universal Studios, and Gears of War was going to be getting a movie that had only just begun at very early pre-production. A few years later, in an interview with IGN in 2019 before the launch of Gears 5, Rod Ferguson revealed that the Gears of War movie would be excluded from the franchise's canon and exist separately in a similar situation to the Halo Silver Timeline TV show. The ex-head of the Coalition studio believed by doing this, they'd not only allow there to be more room for potential with what could happen in the movie, but allow new creators with different processes to think about the Gears world in a unique way. He went into further detail by saying the following: in order for the movie to be successful, it has to be a great movie first and a Gears movie second. Basically, the way that we sort of reconciled that was, oh, the movie should be an alternate reality. It should not be dependent on the game's story, nor should it influence the game's story. Even though Gears of War and the Coalition were very confident in announcing a Gears of War movie in partnership with Universal Studios back in 2016, 6 years later today and there hasn't been any news, information, trailers or announcements regarding the Gears movie, with most Gears fans out there assuming that similar to the original Gears movie fiasco back in the day, that time was just repeating itself once again, questioning if a Gears of War movie would ever see the light of day. Well, luckily for us, it may actually be, however, that the Gears of War movie is a lot closer and ready to be revealed than we do think. During the Gears 5 final esports season, the Coalition Studio announced a brand new sponsor, being the Batman, by tweeting out the following: "Vengeance will descend on the battlefield, whether it's Gotham or Sarah," announcing the Batman as a sponsor of the Gears 5 Winter Major. At the time, it felt very random for the Batman to be sponsoring Gears esports, but a month later it totally made sense after a Gears of War producer provided an update on the new Gears movie. In a new conversation between Digital Fix and Dylan Clark, a producer on the Batman who is also one of the producers involved and working on the Gears of War movie at Universal, did provide a new update teaser sharing a bit more of an insight into the progress behind the Gears movie by saying, "I'm glad that you're interested in a Gears of War movie. It's something that's been a passion of mine for a very long time. I think very soon there will be an announcement." Moving on, while we've yet to see any announcements for the Gears movie when it comes to any stars or faces of actors being attached to the project, there is one actor out there in the world who's been knocking on the doors of Universal Studios ever since the original announcement of a Gears movie in 2016 by stating in a Q&A with GameSpot that playing Marcus Fenix is a dream role of his, and I think many Gears fans can agree that it would be amazing to see none other than Dave Bautista as Marcus Fenix, the war-decorated soldier fighting the Locust Horde on Sarah.
So Broderick, it's so funny that you mentioned that, because I have been pursuing Gears of War for years now. I believe it's in the hands of Universal Studios, and I have been knocking on their door and badgering them, and they are so sick of me calling them and asking them where they are with that project. But yes, Marcus Fenix is absolutely a dream role for me, and I want that role. So if you can start a petition, feel free. Xylon Williams. Put this man in Gears of War. Xylon Williams, I love you. Come on, dude, let's do this. I've been begging for this part for years. This is my destiny to play Marcus Fenix. God, Xylon, I love you.
Lastly, all we really know about the Gears of War movie at this point in July 2022 is that the Gears movie is still definitely happening. It will be set in an alternate reality to the games, books, and comics. It will feature staples of the Gears franchise that will stay true to the movie, including being set on planet Sarah, fighting against the Locust Horde, and star specific certain characters for it to be a meaningful Gears story. The script is being written by F. Scott Fraser, and Dylan Clark, producer on both the Batman and the Gears movie, has teased an announcement maybe soon. Now, there may be actually one more familiar face tied to the Gears of War movie project that I know would definitely get Gears fans excited to see again, and that is none other than Cliff Bleszinski. While looking throughout IMDb and the credits given to the Gears of War movie announced so far, if you do take a closer look at Cliffy B's personal page, it does have Cliff Bleszinski listed as an executive producer on the announced Gears of War movie. Now, this may actually just be related to the original Gears movie that was announced back in 2007 and not updated since then for some strange reason. But of course, I do think it would be a really good decision to have Cliff back on board a Gears of War project, especially something as big of a debut of a Gears movie, given how much influence Cliff had on the creative process on establishing the Gears of War universe from the very beginning. Please make sure to leave me a comment down below telling me what you think. What is your guys' opinion on the Gears of War movie? Are you excited to finally maybe get some announcements? And what would you hope is included in the Gears movie? So there you have it, guys. Full details on the Gears movie update, Cliff Bleszinski, an alternate reality, and more in Gears of War. Leave a like on the video if you guys enjoyed it. Subscribe if you already. Thank you guys for watching. And as always, I shall see you in the next one.